Excellencies, fellow advocates of ICC here in Nepal, friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be here with you again, and I see some familiar faces because if you notice, I have been part of the past workshops of ICC here in Kathmandu through the courtesy of our focal point here, CICC, and the Nepali Coalition for the ICC. On behalf of the Coalition for the International Criminal Court, I would like to thank Mr. Subodh and his colleagues at CICC and the Nepali Coalition for organizing this forum on the ICC. And I would like to thank the Speaker of the Constituent Assembly for being with us this morning, and to extend also his support for this movement for the ratification of the ICC in Nepal. The coalition, as some of you know, now on its 14th year, has been active in supporting governments and civil society in the establishment of the ICC, the first permanent and independent international criminal court that would try serious crimes, genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and once defined the crime of aggression. Comprising of more than 2,500 civil society groups worldwide, the coalition strives through working closely with like-minded governments, international and regional organizations, the United Nations system, and the media, and academics, women's groups, and all other sectors to generate the broadest possible outreach and support for the ICC. I was asked to share with you some of the initiatives that we have done in Asia and to give you a status of our work in the region. The coalition's work in Asia and the Pacific began even before the Rome Treaty's adoption in 1998. A lawyers group in Bangladesh initiated the holding of workshops and other fora involving countries in South Asia, India, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Nepal, and Pakistan. These initiatives spread in Southeast Asia as well as in Northeast Asia. And to date, there are hundreds of civil society groups campaigning for the ICC, and some of them are here with us in this forum. As you can see, we have delegates here from countries that have been mentioned by our Master of Ceremonies, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from China, from Japan, and they are here with us. And we hope you can take the opportunity to have interaction with them during this time of our gathering. We have decided to hold our regional meeting here in Kathmandu to join you in your efforts to convince your government to consider ratification and implementation of the ICC treaty. When we started the work in Asia, including here in Nepal, hardly anyone knew about the ICC, even among judges and key government officials. And for those who are familiar, they would right away associate it with the International Court of Justice, or ICJ. And for those who heard ICC for the first time, they right away think of the International Cricket Competition or the International Chamber of Commerce. But after persistent work by organizations like CICC and now the Nepali Coalition for the ICC, we are happy to know that there is a broad constituency here in Nepal determined to put an end to impunity and a stop to grave human rights abuses, and recognize that one way of doing this is through the ratification and joining in the ICC community. To date in Asia, we have Cambodia, East Timor, Republic of Korea, Afghanistan, Mongolia, and recently Japan that have so far joined the ICC. We are working on Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Laos, and Thailand that have already expressed openness to the process of ratification. This is not to mention our continuing work in India and in China, and we have colleagues from these two countries who are here with us today. Two countries that are strategically important to the overall campaign, not only in Asia, but globally as well. We can see that Asia, with its huge geographical and demographic scope, has still a long way to go to get more countries in the region to join the court. At the moment, Asia and the Middle East are the least represented continents in the ICC. We have more hopes at the civil society level. To date, with the exception of North Korea, Brunei Darussalam, Maldives, and Bhutan, all other countries in the region have their own coalitions and focal points working to generate stronger support for the international justice through the International Criminal Court. And with Japan's accession to the Rome Treaty, we hope that other Asian countries will follow. And now, with Mr. Obama's election in the US, hopes are also high that more Asian countries with long histories of relationships with the United States will reconsider their positions vis-à-vis the ICC. The Coalition for the International Criminal Court, through its network here in Asia, will strive to expand the jurisdiction of the court and reduce safe havens for persons accused of committing heinous crimes, and to promoting state participation and cooperation through adoption of ICC implementing legislations and the strengthening of national legal systems. In our experience here in Asia, and I say this because we have been directly part of initiatives to convince the Cambodian government, the East Timor government, the South Korean government to ratify and join the ICC. And in this long experience of lobbying governments in the region, we see that the delay in the ratification of the Rome Treaty is not so much because governments oppose the ICC. Most of the fears that hinder them from acceding to the Rome Treaty, like the fear of being prosecuted for past crimes or the application of the retroactive provision of the court, the fear of politically motivated charges and others, come from the governments and the people's lack of understanding of the work of the ICC and its significance and relevance to their specific situations. And of course, in many cases in the region, the lack of unity and political will to end impunity and abide by the rule of law. I need not elaborate here the common experiences of injustices and serious human rights violations. They did not only happen here in Nepal, it happened in my country in the Philippines, and now we are also hearing and directly experiencing what is happening in Burma, what is happening in southern part of Thailand, other countries like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and almost majority of the countries in the region are now experiencing some of these conflicts and problems of injustices and human rights violations. As fellow Asians, it is our desire to see our governments committed to such mechanisms as the International Criminal Court, as justice is not possibly going to happen in our local levels with our governments. It is our desire as people to see our governments committed to mechanisms that would provide justice to our people, not only in the short-term relief from the long years of sufferings brought about by internal conflicts and wars. You will agree with me that our peoples have suffered for so long. It is now time to commit to long-term solutions that would give us lasting peace. We feel as fellow Asians that it is timely for the new government of Nepal to seize this fresh opportunity to end impunity and give justice long overdue to the Nepali people. I'm grateful to you all for this chance to be part of this forum. Namaste and mabuhay.